This book is a journey, not a lecture. Before we step forward, let us pause and see the whole road ahead. A productive life is not built by force or speed, but by alignment. This book rests on 5 pillars that quietly support everything meaningful we create: clarity, discipline, energy, focus, and growth. Each pillar is not a rule, but a way of living. In the chapters ahead, we will explore how these pillars rise from daily habits, inner thinking, and intentional action. You will not be asked to become someone else. You will be guided to return to your strongest self. This first step is awareness. Productivity is not about doing more, but about doing what matters with presence, purpose, and peace. Whereas this book is not meant to be rushed through or treated like a checklist of rules. It is meant to be experienced as a quiet conversation about how life actually works when it is lived with intention. Many people believe productivity means doing more, moving faster, or filling every hour with activity, but true productivity is something deeper and calmer. It is about alignment, aligning your actions with your values, your energy with your priorities, and your time with what truly matters. The 5 pillars of a productive life form the foundation of this understanding. These pillars are not rigid systems or strict formulas. They are natural principles that already exist in your life, whether you are aware of them or not. The first pillar is clarity, because without knowing where you are going, every road feels exhausting. Clarity gives meaning to effort and direction to decisions. The second pillar is discipline, not as punishment or pressure, but as a form of self-respect that turns intention into reality. Discipline is what allows progress to continue even when motivation fades. The third pillar is energy, the fuel that powers every action you take. Without caring for your physical, mental, and emotional energy, productivity becomes forced and unsustainable. The fourth pillar is focus, the ability to give your full attention to what truly matters in a world full of constant distractions. Focus transforms ordinary effort into meaningful results by allowing depth instead of division. The fifth pillar is growth, the commitment to learn, adapt, and improve over time. Growth keeps life from becoming repetitive and prevents productivity from turning into empty routine. Together, these 5 pillars support a life that is not only productive, but also balanced and fulfilling. This book is not asking you to change who you are. It is inviting you to return to your strongest version. It recognizes that every person already has potential, but potential without structure often turns into frustration. By understanding these pillars, you begin to see how small daily choices shape long-term outcomes. Productivity, in this sense, is not about squeezing more tasks into your day, but about removing what does not belong. It is about learning to say no to distractions, guilt, and unnecessary pressure, so you can say yes to progress, peace, and purpose. As you move through this book, you will notice that productivity is not something you chase. It is something you build quietly through awareness. The journey begins here, with understanding the structure before stepping inside it, because a strong life, like a strong building, stands not on speed or force, but on a solid foundation built with intention and care. Clarity is the true beginning of a productive life, because without it, effort becomes scattered and progress feels exhausting no matter how hard you try. Many people wake up each day already tired, not because they lack ability or motivation, but because they are moving without a clear sense of direction. When the mind is unclear, every decision demands extra energy, and even simple tasks feel heavy. Clarity removes this mental weight by giving purpose to action. It allows you to understand not just what you are doing, but why you are doing it. When your reasons are strong, your actions become steady. Clarity starts with honesty, with the willingness to look at your life as it truly is rather than how you wish it to appear. It asks you to identify what truly matters to you beyond expectations, comparisons, and outside pressure. Without clarity, people often chase goals that do not belong to them, leading to frustration and emptiness even after success. A clear life, on the other hand, feels lighter because decisions align with values. When your values are defined, priorities become obvious, and distractions lose their power. Clarity also brings focus to long-term vision. It helps you see beyond immediate comfort and short-term rewards, allowing you to invest your time and energy in outcomes that matter over years, not just days. This vision does not have to be perfect or detailed. It simply needs to be honest. Even a simple understanding of the kind of person you want to become can guide thousands of daily choices. Clarity does not eliminate uncertainty, but it reduces confusion. It gives you a reference point when life feels overwhelming. When challenges arise, clarity reminds you why persistence matters. When opportunities appear, clarity helps you choose wisely instead of reacting impulsively. Another important aspect of clarity is simplification. A productive life is not filled with endless commitments. It is shaped by intentional selection. Clarity allows you to remove unnecessary tasks, habits, and expectations that drain your energy without contributing to your growth. It teaches you that saying no is not a failure, but a form of protection for what truly matters. Clarity also strengthens confidence, because when you know your direction, you stop seeking constant approval from others. You become less reactive and more intentional. This inner stability creates momentum because your actions are no longer driven by fear or confusion, but by purpose. Over time, clarity turns effort into flow. Work feels more meaningful, decisions feel less stressful, and progress becomes visible. Clarity is not a one-time achievement. It is a practice that requires regular reflection. Life changes, priorities evolve, and clarity must be renewed. By checking in with yourself, reviewing your goals, and adjusting your path, you keep your productivity aligned with your growth. A clear mind creates a focused life, and a focused life creates results that feel both successful and satisfying. As the enthusiast goals give structure to clarity and turn intention into direction, because knowing what you want is powerful, but deciding what you are working toward is what creates movement. Without clear goals, life becomes reactive, shaped by circumstances instead of choice. Many people confuse wishes with goals, but a wish has no commitment, while a goal carries responsibility. A goal asks you to show up, to measure progress, and to stay honest with yourself. When goals are clearly defined, they reduce mental noise by narrowing your focus. Instead of trying to do everything, you begin to do what matters most. A productive life does not require dozens of goals. It requires a few meaningful ones that align with your values and vision. Goals provide motivation, but more importantly, they provide direction during moments when motivation disappears. On difficult days, goals remind you why effort is necessary. They act as anchors, keeping you steady when distractions and doubts try to pull you away. Effective goals are realistic yet challenging, pushing you beyond comfort without breaking confidence. When goals are too easy, growth stops. When they are too extreme, discouragement takes over. Balance is essential. Writing goals down transforms them from abstract ideas into tangible commitments. This simple act increases accountability and strengthens intention. Revisiting goals regularly keeps them alive and relevant, allowing adjustments without abandoning direction. Goals also help you manage time more wisely. When you know your destination, it becomes easier to decide how to use each day. Time spent on aligned actions feels productive, while time spent on distractions becomes easier to recognize and reduce. Goals also create measurable progress, which builds confidence and momentum. Each small step forward reinforces belief in your ability to improve. Even setbacks serve a purpose when goals are clear, because failure becomes feedback instead of defeat. Goals encourage learning, adaptation, and resilience. They teach patience by reminding you that meaningful results take time. A productive life is not built on instant success but on steady progress. Goals also provide boundaries, protecting your energy from unnecessary commitments. When you are clear about what you are working toward, it becomes easier to say no to opportunities that look attractive but lead you away from your path. This selective focus is a form of self-respect. Goals do not limit freedom, they create it by reducing indecision and regret. As you grow, your goals may evolve, and that evolution is a sign of awareness, not failure. Productivity is not about rigidly clinging to old plans, but about staying committed to purposeful direction. When goals are aligned with who you are becoming, effort feels meaningful and progress feels earned. In this way, goals transform clarity into action and turn a productive life into a deliberate journey rather than an accidental outcome. Discipline is the quiet force that turns intention into reality, and without it, even the clearest goals remain unfulfilled ideas. Many people misunderstand discipline as punishment or restriction, but true discipline is an act of self-respect and self-trust. It is the ability to choose what matters most over what feels easiest in the moment. Motivation is emotional and temporary, rising and falling with mood and circumstance, but discipline is stable. It carries you forward when excitement fades and resistance appears. A productive life depends on discipline not as a harsh command, but as a supportive structure that keeps you moving even on ordinary days. Discipline is built through small, repeated actions rather than dramatic effort. When you keep simple promises to yourself, such as starting on time, completing what you begin, or maintaining a routine, you strengthen confidence in your own reliability. Each time you follow through, you reinforce the belief that you can be trusted, and this belief becomes a powerful source of momentum. Discipline also simplifies life by reducing decision fatigue. When habits are disciplined, you no longer waste energy deciding whether to act. Action becomes automatic. This frees mental space for creativity and problem solving. Discipline is especially important during discomfort, because growth often feels uncomfortable before it feels rewarding. Instead of avoiding discomfort, discipline teaches you to move through it calmly. It allows you to work even when conditions are imperfect and progress feels slow. Discipline does not demand perfection. It allows for mistakes while insisting on consistency. Missing a day does not break discipline, but quitting does. A disciplined approach views setbacks as temporary interruptions, not excuses to abandon effort. Over time, discipline reshapes identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries and start seeing yourself as someone who follows through. This shift changes how you approach challenges, making them feel manageable instead of overwhelming. Discipline also protects long-term goals from short-term impulses. It helps you resist distractions that offer immediate pleasure but lead to regret. In this way, discipline becomes a form of freedom, because you are no longer controlled by impulse or convenience. It aligns daily actions with long-term values, creating integrity between what you say matters and what you actually do. Discipline strengthens resilience by teaching patience and persistence. Results rarely appear instantly, and without discipline, many people quit just before progress becomes visible. Discipline keeps effort alive during these quiet periods when growth is happening beneath the surface. A productive life is not built on bursts of intensity, but on steady commitment, and discipline is what sustains that commitment. As discipline becomes part of your lifestyle, effort feels less forced and more natural. You no longer rely on external pressure or constant motivation. Instead, progress becomes a reflection of inner stability. Discipline, when practiced with balance and self-compassion, becomes the backbone of productivity, supporting every goal, habit, and vision you choose to pursue. Consistency is the hidden engine behind every productive life, because while intensity may create quick movement, it is consistency that creates lasting change. Many people believe success comes from rare moments of extreme effort, but real progress is built through small actions repeated over time. Consistency removes the pressure to be perfect and replaces it with the responsibility to be present. When you commit to showing up regularly, even in simple ways, you allow growth to happen naturally. A productive life is not shaped by what you do occasionally, but by what you do repeatedly. Consistency builds trust with yourself, because each repeated action reinforces the belief that you can rely on your own commitment. This trust becomes a powerful source of confidence and motivation. Consistent effort also reduces emotional dependence on mood. You no longer wait to feel ready or inspired. You act because action has become part of your rhythm. This creates stability, especially during times when motivation is low. Consistency does not demand large amounts of time or energy, it demands regularity. Even small actions, when performed daily, compound into significant results. Reading a few pages each day, practicing a skill for a short period, or making a small improvement consistently can reshape an entire future. Consistency also makes progress measurable, which keeps momentum alive. When you see yourself moving forward, even slowly, discouragement loses its power. Setbacks feel less devastating because you know you will return to the process. Consistency teaches patience, reminding you that meaningful outcomes take time. It shifts focus from immediate results to long-term improvement. This shift reduces anxiety and increases satisfaction, because progress is judged by effort rather than outcome alone. Consistent routines also simplify decision-making. When actions are scheduled and habitual, you conserve mental energy for deeper thinking and creativity. Consistency creates structure, and structure supports freedom by reducing chaos. It also builds resilience, because repetition strengthens skills and confidence. What once felt difficult becomes easier through consistent practice. Consistency protects you from burnout by discouraging extremes. Instead of pushing too hard and crashing, you move at a sustainable pace. This steady approach allows productivity to coexist with balance and well-being. Over time, consistency shapes identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who shows up, someone who continues, someone who progresses. This identity reinforces behavior, creating a positive cycle of growth. Consistency also makes success feel earned and stable, rather than accidental or fragile. A productive life is not built in dramatic moments but in quiet ones, when you choose to act even when no one is watching. Through consistency, effort becomes habit, habit becomes identity, and identity becomes a life of steady, meaningful productivity. CFTR 6 season. Energy is the foundation that supports every productive effort, because without sufficient energy, even the strongest discipline and clearest goals struggle to survive. Many people attempt to improve productivity by managing time while ignoring energy. But time cannot be used effectively when the body and mind are exhausted. A productive life recognizes that energy is not unlimited and must be protected, renewed, and invested wisely. Physical energy begins with basic care, proper sleep, nourishing food, regular movement, and hydration. These are not luxuries or optional habits. They are essential systems that determine how well you think, focus, and act. When physical energy is neglected, motivation weakens, concentration fades, and even simple tasks feel overwhelming. Mental energy is equally important. Constant overthinking, multitasking, and information overload drain the mind faster than physical work. A productive life creates space for mental rest through boundaries, simplicity, and moments of silence. Emotional energy also plays a critical role. Unresolved stress, resentment, fear, and self-doubt quietly consume energy that could otherwise be used for growth and creativity. Learning to manage emotions, set healthy boundaries, and release unnecessary pressure restores inner strength. Energy is also influenced by alignment. When your work matches your values, effort feels lighter and more sustainable. When actions conflict with purpose, energy drains quickly. A productive life pays attention to these signals and adjusts accordingly. Energy management is not about constant high performance. It is about rhythm. Periods of effort must be balanced with periods of recovery. Ignoring this balance leads to burnout, which reduces productivity far more than rest ever will. Short breaks, quality sleep, and intentional pauses allow the nervous system to reset and creativity to return. Energy also increases when focus improves. Scattered attention wastes energy, while focused attention conserves it. By working on one meaningful task at a time, you reduce mental fatigue and improve results. Environment plays a role in energy as well. Natural light, clean spaces, and supportive surroundings reduce strain and improve mood. Even the people you spend time with affect your energy levels. Positive, supportive interactions restore energy, while constant negativity drains it. A productive life becomes selective about where energy is invested. Not every demand deserves your full attention. Learning to say no to energy-draining commitments is an act of self-preservation, not selfishness. Energy grows when you respect limits instead of pushing past them. Over time, managing energy becomes a skill that improves with awareness. You learn which habits restore you and which habits deplete you. This awareness allows you to plan work during high-energy periods and rest during low-energy ones. Productivity becomes smoother, not forced. When energy is honored, effort feels natural, focus becomes sharper, and progress feels sustainable. A productive life is not powered by exhaustion, but by balance, care, and intentional renewal. As Savans, rest is often misunderstood as inactivity or weakness, yet in a truly productive life, rest is a deliberate and powerful strategy that allows effort to remain effective over time. Many people push themselves constantly, believing that non-stop work is the key to success, but this approach slowly erodes focus, creativity, and motivation. Without rest, the mind becomes dull, the body becomes tense, and productivity turns into mere survival. Rest restores what effort consumes. It allows the nervous system to calm, the mind to process information, and the body to repair itself. A productive life recognizes that rest is not something you earn only after exhaustion, but something you schedule to prevent it. Quality rest includes sufficient sleep, which is essential for memory, decision-making, and emotional balance. Lack of sleep reduces productivity far more than most people realize, affecting concentration and increasing mistakes. Rest also includes mental pauses. Constant stimulation through screens, noise, and information overload prevents the mind from resetting. Quiet moments, reflection, and silence create space for clarity and insight. Creativity often appears during rest because the mind is no longer under pressure. Emotional rest is equally important. Carrying stress, unresolved conflict, or self-criticism drains energy and reduces effectiveness. Emotional rest comes from self-compassion, healthy boundaries, and allowing yourself to pause without guilt. A productive life removes the belief that rest must be justified. Rest is part of the process, not an interruption. Short breaks during work increase focus and reduce fatigue. Stepping away briefly allows you to return with renewed attention. Rest also improves perspective. When you are constantly busy, small problems feel overwhelming. Rest creates distance, allowing you to see challenges more clearly and respond calmly. Over time, regular rest prevents burnout, which can take months or years to recover from. Burnout does not make you stronger, it weakens discipline, motivation. A balanced approach to rest protects long-term productivity. Rest also improves efficiency. A rested mind works faster and more accurately than an exhausted one. This means fewer hours are needed to achieve better results. Rest supports emotional stability, reducing irritability and increasing patience. This improves relationships and communication, which are often overlooked aspects of productivity. A productive life includes intentional rest in daily routines, weekly schedules, and long-term planning. This might mean setting clear work hours, protecting weekends, or taking breaks without distraction. Rest is not avoidance, it is preparation. It allows you to return to your work with clarity and purpose. When rest is respected, effort becomes sustainable, creativity remains alive, and productivity continues without sacrificing well-being. Focus is the ability to give your full attention to one meaningful task at a time, and in a productive life, it acts as a force that multiplies the value of effort. Many people believe they are productive because they stay busy, yet constant activity without focus leads to shallow results and mental exhaustion. Distraction is not always loud or obvious. It often appears as multitasking, unnecessary notifications, or the habit of switching tasks before anything is truly completed. Each time attention is divided, energy is wasted in restarting and refocusing. Focus restores this lost energy by creating depth. When you focus fully, even simple tasks are completed with higher quality and in less time. A productive life treats focus as a skill that can be trained, not a talent you either have or lack. Focus begins with intention. Knowing what deserves your attention helps you protect it. When priorities are unclear, attention scatters easily. Focus also requires boundaries, both external and internal. External boundaries include limiting interruptions, organizing your workspace, and setting specific times for deep work. Internal boundaries involve managing impulses, resisting the urge to check distractions, and gently bringing your attention back when it wanders. Focus is not about forcing concentration through tension. It is about reducing friction so attention can settle naturally. Mental clarity improves when you work on one task at a time, allowing the brain to enter a state of flow where effort feels lighter and time passes smoothly. This state increases creativity and problem-solving ability. Focus also improves learning because information processed deeply is retained more effectively. A productive life values quality over quantity, understanding that 1 hour of focused work can be more valuable than several hours of distracted effort. Focus protects mental energy by reducing stress and overwhelm. When too many tasks compete for attention, anxiety increases and performance drops. By focusing on what matters now, you reduce unnecessary pressure. Focus also strengthens discipline, because staying present requires commitment and patience. Each moment of focus builds confidence in your ability to control attention. Over time, this confidence grows into mental resilience. Focus is especially important in a world designed to capture and fragment attention. Choosing focus becomes an act of self-respect. It signals that your time and energy are valuable. Focus also enhances satisfaction. Completing tasks with full attention creates a sense of closure and progress. This satisfaction fuels motivation and reduces procrastination. Focus does not eliminate breaks or rest, instead it makes them more effective. When work is focused, rest feels earned and refreshing rather than guilty or anxious. A productive life integrates focus into daily routines by planning tasks intentionally and working in clear, uninterrupted blocks. With practice, focus becomes more natural, distractions lose their grip, and productivity becomes calmer, deeper, and more meaningful. CFTR 9 uses time is one of the most misunderstood elements of productivity because it cannot be controlled, stored, or expanded, yet it shapes every outcome in life. A productive life does not attempt to manage time as if it were an object, but learns to manage choices within time. Everyone receives the same number of hours each day, but the difference in results comes from how those hours are used with intention. When time is spent without awareness, days blur together and progress feels slow or invisible. When time is aligned with priorities, even ordinary days create meaningful movement. A productive life begins by recognizing that time is a limited resource and therefore deserves respect. This respect appears in planning, not rigid scheduling, but intentional direction. Planning gives structure to the day while leaving room for flexibility. It reduces stress by replacing constant decision-making with clear intention. Time becomes more valuable when you know what it is meant to support. A clear sense of purpose turns time into an investment rather than an expense. Productive people focus on important tasks before urgent distractions. Urgency often demands attention loudly, while importance speaks quietly. Without awareness, urgency wins and important goals are postponed repeatedly. Time alignment requires the discipline to protect important work, even when it does not feel immediately rewarding. Time is also affected by energy and focus. Working during peak energy hours increases efficiency, while forcing work during low energy periods leads to frustration and wasted effort. A productive life pays attention to natural rhythms and plans accordingly. Time is not meant to be filled completely. White space allows reflection, creativity. When every minute is scheduled, flexibility disappears and stress increases. A balanced approach to time includes moments of pause. Time is also shaped by boundaries. Without boundaries, tasks expand endlessly, and commitments overlap. Learning to say no protects time for what truly matters. This protection is not selfish, it is necessary for meaningful productivity. Time management also involves letting go of perfection. Spending too much time refining minor details often steals time from more impactful work. Knowing when something is good enough preserves time for growth. Reflection plays an important role in time awareness. Reviewing how time is spent reveals patterns, habits, and distractions that shape results. Awareness leads to adjustment. A productive life does not seek to eliminate rest or leisure, but integrates them intentionally. Rest restores time by increasing efficiency and focus later. Time spent resting is not lost, it is transformed into clarity and energy. Over time, respectful use of time reduces regret and increases satisfaction. Instead of feeling rushed or behind, you feel present and aligned. Time, when used with intention, becomes a powerful ally rather than a constant source of pressure. Habits are the invisible architecture of daily life, quietly shaping outcomes long before results become visible. And in a productive life, habits determine whether progress feels forced or natural. While motivation rises and falls, habits remain steady, guiding behavior even when enthusiasm fades. Many people attempt to change their lives by relying on willpower alone, but willpower is limited and easily exhausted. Habits, once established, require far less energy because they operate automatically. A productive life is built not by dramatic decisions but by small, repeated actions that slowly shape identity. What you do consistently becomes part of who you are. Habits reduce decision fatigue by eliminating the need to choose the same actions repeatedly. This frees mental energy for creativity, problem-solving, and meaningful work. Effective habits are simple and realistic, designed to be sustainable rather than impressive. Starting small increases the chance of consistency. A habit that feels easy is more likely to be repeated, and repetition is what creates change. Habits are strengthened by cues and routines. When actions are attached to existing patterns, they become easier to maintain. Environment plays a powerful role in habit formation. A productive life designs surroundings to support positive habits and discourage unhelpful ones. When healthy choices are easy and unhealthy choices are inconvenient, behavior shifts naturally. Habits also shape self-image. Each time you follow through on a habit, you reinforce the belief that you are capable and reliable. This belief builds confidence and motivation. Habits do not eliminate struggle, but they reduce resistance. Even on difficult days, habits provide structure and direction. Missed days are not failures, they are reminders to return. Consistency matters more than perfection. Habits also support long-term goals by breaking them into manageable actions. Large goals can feel overwhelming, but daily habits make progress visible and achievable. Over time, these small steps compound into significant results. Habits also protect focus. When routines are established, attention is not wasted on unnecessary decisions. This creates space for deeper work and reflection. A productive life includes habits for planning, learning, rest, and review. These habits create balance and prevent burnout. Habits are not rigid rules, they are flexible systems that can evolve with growth. Regular reflection ensures habits remain aligned with values and goals. When habits support purpose, productivity becomes effortless. You no longer rely on constant motivation or external pressure. Instead, progress becomes a natural outcome of daily choices. Through habits, discipline becomes easier, focus becomes steadier, and productivity becomes a sustainable way of living rather than a constant struggle. A mindset is the lens through which every effort, challenge, and result is interpreted. And in a productive life, mindset often determines success more than skill or circumstance. Two people can face the same situation and experience entirely different outcomes based on how they think about it. A productive mindset is not about constant positivity or ignoring difficulty. It is about choosing responses that support growth instead of stagnation. Thoughts shape behavior, and behavior shapes results. When the mind is trained to focus on solutions rather than problems, progress becomes possible even in difficult conditions. A productive life encourages a mindset that views challenges as opportunities to learn rather than signs to quit. Mistakes are not treated as personal failures, but as information that guides improvement. This perspective reduces fear and increases willingness to act. Fear of failure often prevents action, but a growth-oriented mindset understands that failure is part of the process. Confidence grows not from avoiding mistakes, but from learning how to recover from them. Self-talk plays a powerful role in productivity. The words you repeat internally influence motivation, focus, and resilience. A critical inner voice drains energy and creates hesitation, while a supportive inner voice encourages persistence. A productive life replaces harsh judgment with constructive reflection. Instead of asking, "Why am I like this?" it asks, "What can I adjust?" This shift transforms frustration into progress. Mindset also affects patience. Many people quit because they expect immediate results. A productive mindset understands that meaningful change takes time. This patience reduces anxiety and keeps effort steady. Mindset shapes how setbacks are interpreted. Without the right mindset, obstacles feel overwhelming. With a productive mindset, obstacles become temporary challenges to be navigated. This resilience keeps momentum alive. Mindset also influences focus. When the mind is cluttered with doubt and comparison, attention scatters. When the mind is calm and purposeful, focus strengthens. A productive life limits comparison, recognizing that everyone's journey is different. Comparing progress to others often leads to discouragement or arrogance, both of which harm productivity. A healthy mindset measures progress against personal growth rather than external standards. Mindset also affects adaptability. When plans change or unexpected challenges appear, a flexible mindset allows adjustment without losing direction. Rigidity creates stress, while adaptability preserves momentum. A productive life remains open to learning and refinement. Mindset is shaped through awareness and practice. By observing thoughts and choosing more helpful perspectives, you gradually change how you experience work and effort. Over time, a productive mindset becomes a powerful ally, supporting discipline, focus, and resilience. When the mind works with you instead of against you, productivity feels lighter, steadier, and more sustainable. Thus, growth is what keeps a productive life alive, because without growth, effort becomes repetition and progress slowly loses meaning. A productive life is not about staying the same and working harder. It is about becoming better, wiser, and more capable over time. Growth begins with the willingness to learn, and learning requires humility. When you accept that you do not know everything, you create space for improvement. A growth-oriented life sees knowledge as an ongoing journey rather than a final destination. Learning can come from many sources: books, experiences, mistakes, and even challenges. Each experience carries a lesson if you are willing to reflect. Growth also requires curiosity. Curious minds remain open, flexible, and adaptable. They ask questions instead of making assumptions. This openness allows productivity to evolve instead of becoming rigid. Growth involves stepping outside comfort zones. Comfort may feel safe, but it limits development. Productive growth does not demand constant discomfort, but it does require occasional stretching. Small challenges, taken consistently, expand capability without overwhelming confidence. Growth also depends on feedback. Feedback, whether positive or critical, provides insight into what is working and what needs adjustment. A productive life welcomes feedback without defensiveness, using it as information rather than judgment. Growth is closely tied to reflection. Without reflection, experiences pass without impact. Taking time to review actions, decisions, and outcomes turns experience into wisdom. Reflection allows you to refine methods, strengthen habits, and adjust goals. Growth also requires patience. Improvement is rarely immediate. Skills develop gradually, and understanding deepens with time. A productive life values progress over perfection, recognizing that each step forward matters. Growth strengthens resilience. When you see challenges as opportunities to grow, setbacks lose their power to discourage. Instead of asking why something happened, you ask what it can teach you. This mindset transforms obstacles into stepping stones. Growth also keeps motivation alive. Learning something new creates excitement and renews interest. Productivity becomes more engaging when it includes discovery. Growth does not mean constant change for the sake of novelty. It means intentional improvement aligned with values and goals. A productive life chooses growth areas wisely, focusing on skills and knowledge that support purpose. Growth also involves letting go of outdated habits or beliefs that no longer serve you. This release creates space for better systems and perspectives. Over time, growth compounds, just like habits and consistency. Small improvements accumulate into significant transformation. A productive life that prioritizes growth remains dynamic, meaningful, and fulfilling. When growth becomes a lifelong practice, productivity becomes more than achievement, it becomes continuous personal evolution. Chapter 13 is resilience is the strength that allows productivity to continue when circumstances are difficult, plans fail, or motivation disappears, and without it, even the most disciplined efforts can collapse under pressure. A productive life is not free from challenges. It is defined by how challenges are handled. Every meaningful journey includes setbacks, delays, and unexpected obstacles. Resilience is not about avoiding these moments, but about learning how to move through them without losing direction. It begins with acceptance, the understanding that difficulty is a natural part of growth, not a sign of personal failure. When resistance appears, resilient individuals do not waste energy on denial or self-blame, they focus on response. This shift in focus preserves mental and emotional energy for problem solving. Resilience is closely connected to perspective. When challenges are viewed as permanent or personal, discouragement grows. When they are seen as temporary and specific, hope remains intact. A productive life trains the mind to separate identity from outcome. Failure does not define who you are, it informs what you can improve. This distinction reduces fear and encourages continued action. Resilience also relies on flexibility. Rigid plans break under pressure, while flexible plans adapt. A productive life remains committed to purpose while adjusting methods as needed. This adaptability allows progress even when original strategies no longer work. Resilience is strengthened through experience. Each time you recover from a setback, confidence grows. You begin to trust your ability to handle difficulty, which reduces anxiety about future challenges. Resilience also involves emotional regulation. Strong emotions can cloud judgment and drain energy. Learning to pause, breathe, and respond thoughtfully protects focus and productivity. Support systems play an important role in resilience. Encouragement, guidance, and shared perspective from others remind you that struggle is universal. A productive life does not isolate itself during difficulty. It seeks connection when needed. Resilience also requires patience. Recovery and adjustment take time. Rushing the process can lead to repeated mistakes. A patient approach allows learning to settle and clarity to return. Resilience does not mean constant strength. It allows moments of rest and reflection. Taking breaks during hardship is not quitting. It is preserving the ability to continue. Over time, resilience transforms setbacks into growth points. Each challenge adds depth to experience and strengthens inner stability. A productive life built on resilience does not fear difficulty because it knows that progress is possible even in imperfect conditions. Through resilience, productivity becomes durable, capable of continuing despite uncertainty and change. Chapter: Resilience is the inner strength that allows a productive life to continue moving forward, even when circumstances become difficult, plans collapse, or motivation disappears, and without resilience, productivity often fades at the first sign of resistance. Every meaningful path includes obstacles, delays, and moments of uncertainty, and these moments are not exceptions but natural parts of progress. A productive life does not expect smooth conditions, it prepares for disruption. Resilience begins with acceptance, the understanding that struggle does not mean failure, but growth in motion. When challenges appear, resilient individuals do not waste energy blaming themselves or their circumstances. Instead, they focus on what can still be done. This shift in focus protects mental energy and keeps momentum alive. Resilience is closely tied to perspective. When problems are viewed as permanent or overwhelming, discouragement grows quickly. When they are seen as temporary and specific, hope remains intact. A productive life separates identity from outcome, recognizing that setbacks do not define worth or capability. Failure becomes feedback, and disappointment becomes information. This mindset reduces fear and encourages continued effort. Resilience also requires flexibility. Rigid plans break under pressure, but adaptable approaches survive. A productive life stays committed to purpose while remaining open to changing methods. Adjusting strategy is not weakness, it is intelligence. Resilience is strengthened through experience. Each time you recover from a setback, confidence grows, not because the situation was easy, but because you proved you could handle difficulty. This confidence reduces anxiety about future challenges. Emotional regulation is another key element of resilience. Strong emotions can cloud judgment and drain focus. Learning to pause, reflect, and respond thoughtfully preserves clarity. Resilience also recognizes the importance of rest during hardship. Constant struggle without recovery leads to burnout, not strength. Taking time to reset allows you to return with renewed perspective. Support systems play a critical role in resilience. Guidance, encouragement, and shared understanding remind you that struggle is universal and survivable. A productive life does not isolate itself in difficult times, it seeks connection when needed. Resilience also teaches patience. Growth during difficulty is rarely fast, but it is meaningful. Allowing time for learning and adjustment prevents repeated mistakes. Over time, resilience transforms obstacles into lessons and setbacks into stepping stones. Each challenge adds depth, strength, and stability. A productive life built on resilience does not fear difficulty, because it understands that progress is possible even in imperfect conditions, and that persistence, not perfection, is what carries productivity forward. Chat 14 as environment quietly shapes behavior more powerfully than motivation or intention, and a productive life understands that success is often influenced by surroundings long before effort begins. Many people try to force productivity through willpower while ignoring the spaces, systems, and relationships that guide daily behavior. Environment includes everything around you: your physical space, digital space, social circle, and daily systems. When the environment is chaotic, productivity feels heavy and exhausting. When the environment is supportive, productivity feels lighter and more natural. A productive life designs surroundings to reduce friction and encourage focus. A clean, organized workspace reduces mental clutter and allows attention to settle. This does not mean perfection, but intention. When tools are easy to access and distractions are minimized, work begins with less resistance. Digital environment matters just as much. Constant notifications, cluttered screens, and unorganized files drain attention and energy. Simplifying digital spaces restores focus and reduces overwhelm. Social environment also plays a powerful role. The people you spend time with influence your mindset, habits, and standards. Supportive, growth-oriented relationships encourage consistency and confidence, while negative or discouraging environments quietly weaken motivation. A productive life becomes selective about influence, not out of arrogance, but out of self-protection. Environment also includes systems and routines. Clear systems reduce the need for constant decision-making. When systems are simple and reliable, productivity becomes consistent. Environment can either support good habits or make them difficult. By adjusting surroundings to make positive actions easier and negative actions harder, behavior shifts naturally. This reduces reliance on willpower. Environment also affects emotional state. Light, noise, comfort, and order influence mood and stress levels. A calm environment supports clear thinking, while a stressful environment increases tension. A productive life pays attention to these subtle signals and adjusts accordingly. Environment is not static, it evolves with your needs and goals. Regular review ensures that surroundings continue to support growth rather than hinder it. Changing environment does not require dramatic action. Small adjustments often create significant improvement. Removing a single distraction or adding a simple support can increase focus and efficiency. Environment also reflects identity. When surroundings align with goals, they reinforce commitment. A productive life creates spaces that remind you of what matters. Over time, a supportive environment becomes a silent partner in productivity, guiding behavior effortlessly. Instead of fighting distractions and resistance daily, you move through systems designed to help you succeed. When environment supports intention, productivity becomes less about struggle and more about flow, making progress feel natural and sustainable. A productive life ultimately finds its highest meaning not in achievement alone, but in contribution, alignment, and the quiet sense of fulfillment that comes from living in harmony with what truly matters. Productivity without meaning becomes empty motion, a cycle of effort that never satisfies, but productivity guided by purpose transforms work into service and progress into legacy. At this stage of the journey, it becomes clear that doing more is not the goal, doing what matters is. A productive life asks deeper questions. How does my effort improve my life and the lives of others? What kind of impact am I creating through my daily choices? Purpose gives productivity its soul. It connects discipline, focus, energy, and growth to something larger than personal gain. When actions are aligned with values, motivation becomes steadier and effort feels worthwhile even during difficulty. A productive life is not about constant success, but about consistent alignment. Alignment means that your goals, habits, and actions reflect the person you are becoming. When alignment is present, inner conflict decreases and clarity increases. You no longer feel pulled in multiple directions because your choices support a unified direction. Contribution deepens this alignment. When your work benefits others, productivity gains meaning beyond results. Helping, teaching, creating, and serving generate a sense of fulfillment that achievement alone cannot provide. Contribution does not require grand gestures. It begins with intention. Small acts of value repeated consistently create lasting impact. A productive life also understands balance. Hustle without reflection leads to burnout, while reflection without action leads to stagnation. Balance allows productivity to be sustainable. It honors effort while respecting rest, ambition while preserving well-being. This balance creates longevity. A productive life is not measured by how fast you move, but by how long you can continue with clarity and purpose. Gratitude also plays a role in lasting productivity. Recognizing progress, however small, builds satisfaction and reduces constant pressure. Gratitude does not reduce ambition, it stabilizes it. When you appreciate growth instead of chasing endless outcomes, productivity becomes more peaceful. A productive life embraces responsibility without self-punishment. Mistakes are acknowledged, adjusted, and released. This emotional maturity prevents stagnation and supports continuous improvement. Reflection remains essential even at this stage. Regularly reviewing goals, values, and direction keeps productivity aligned with growth. Life changes, and productivity must evolve with it. What mattered once may shift, and awareness allows adaptation without losing momentum. In its fullest form, a productive life becomes a practice rather than a pursuit. It is lived daily through small choices, intentional focus, and meaningful effort. There is no final destination, only continued alignment. When clarity guides you, discipline supports you, energy sustains you, focus sharpens you, growth expands you, resilience steadies you, environment supports you, and purpose directs you, productivity becomes a natural expression of who you are. This is not a life of pressure, but a life of presence. Not a race, but a rhythm. One choice at a time, one day at a time. A productive life becomes not something you chase, but something you live.